Hello everyone, this is R.Sudhakar Reddy, Assistant Professor, Department of Mining Engineering, Aditya University. Today's learning outcomes. After this lecture, students are able to know about various regulations related to cases container for carrying explosives in as per CMR, that is coal mines regulations. So coming to the standards of ventilation, it shall be the duty of owner, agent or manager of the every mine to take such steps as the necessary to constantly provide in all parts of the mine below ground which are not sealed off adequate ventilation to clear away smoke, steam, dust, to dilute gases that are inflammable, noxious, so as to render them harmless, and to provide air containing sufficient oxygen and to prevent such excessive rise of temperature, humidity which may be harmful to the health of the persons. So basically this ventilation is related to underground mines only, number one. Number two, so whichever you are sending the fresh air, it should be sufficient for all miners, and that air should contain sufficient oxygen also, which should be able to keep them comfortable. So what is comfortable means? So comfortable temperature, comfortable humidity. So that is the summary of this paragraph. And every ventilation districts, I already explained. In every ventilation district, I already explained one point. Ventilation district is a district which is having independent intake airway starting from main intake airway, independent return airway terminating at main return airway. So in every ventilation district, not less than 6 cubic meter per minute per person. This is the one of the important point. So quantity of air, 6 cubic meter per minute of air per person. It is actually for degree 1 gas mine, okay, and also not less than 2.5 cubic meter per minute of air per ton. So this should be according to the heads or according to the production also. According to the heads, 6 cubic meter per minute. According to the production, 2.5 cubic meter per minute per ton of coal range. Whichever is larger, whichever is more. So this is the things how to calculate what is the quantity of ventilation required for a underground mines. According to this equation, one, that is ventilation officer, has to calculate how much a main mechanical ventilator need to be, main mechanical, that fan. So coming to second point, at every place in the mine where persons are required to work or pass, air does not contain less than 19% of oxygen. This is one of the important thing. In underground mine where production is or where mine is active, the percentage of oxygen should not be less than 19%, and it should not be more than, that is carbon dioxide percent should not be more than 0.5%. These two things should be compulsorily taken care of by ventilation officer. Oxygen percentage should not be less than 19%, CO2 percentage should not be more than 0.5, and the percentage of inflammable gas does not exceed 0.75. Here synonymous, actually inflammable gas means CH4, that is methane, okay. So the percentage of methane does not exceed 0.75 in the general body of air, and in ventilation districts it is 1.25 in any places actually. The percentage of methane should not exceed 0.75 in general body of air. So one should understand what is general body of air. This is a general body of air which does not include sealed off area. It should include air in the roof also. So that is the definition of general body of air, and also in the ventilation district. So methane percentage should not exceed 0.75, and similarly it should not be more than 1.25 in any place in the mine. So this is the one of the important points about methane in underground mine. The wet bulb temperature in any working place does not exceed 33.5 degrees centigrade, and if wet bulb temperature exceeds 30.5 degrees centigrade, air velocity should be moving more than 1 meter per second. So it always should be 1 meter per second, 1 meter per second. When means if the wet bulb temperature exceeds 30.5 degrees. So this is one of the important things. So coming to the oxygen percentage should not be less than 19%, CO2 percentage should not be more than 0.5, and CH4 percentage in case of general body of air and ventilation district, it should not be more than 0.75, and at any place in the mine it should not be more than 1.25. Wet bulb temperature should not be more than 33.5 degrees centigrade. If in any case it is more than 30.5, then air velocity should be more than 1 meter per second. So, for ensuring compliance with the provisions of class B, C and D of this sub-regulation, air samples and temperature readings shall be taken at least once in every 30 days. So, air samples, so for I mean to say oxygen, methane, all these things, they should be tested once in every 30 days. And similarly, temperature, humidity also. These all should be maintained in a bound-paged book kept for the purpose. In every mine, ventilation as specified in the sub-regulation 2 shall be produced by the suitable mine mechanical ventilator. This is one of the important thing. So, generally the fan should be able to provide sufficient air to the mines. That should be decided by the ventilation officer. If with respect to any mine or part thereof, the regional inspector is of the opinion that the ventilation is not adequate, he may by an order in writing require the installation and maintenance of such mechanical ventilator as is capable of producing adequate ventilation. If regional inspector feels whatever the mechanical ventilator, it is unable to provide fresh air to the miners, then he can suggest better mechanical ventilator need to be provided than the mechanical ventilator which is presently there. And we have just completed standards of ventilation regarding oxygen, regarding CO2, regarding wet bulb temperature, regarding quantity of air, all these things. Coming to brattices, doors, stoppings, air crossings. These are all called as ventilation devices. These are meant for controlling the quantity of air. There shall be provided and maintained in every mine such number of air crossings. So, air crossing means whenever intake airway and return airway crosses. And ventilation stoppings, for example, in case of groves, we need to construct a stopping to prevent supply of air into the grove. Similarly, doors, suppose some workings need not to be, if they are not temporarily not working, in such cases doors are provided. Similarly, brattices is a temporary form, okay, and other devices as may be adequate to ensure compliance with the provisions of regulation 153. So, some places air crossings are constructed, some places stoppings are constructed, some places doors are constructed, some places brattices. So, depending upon the situation there, different types of ventilation devices are erected. In case of any doubt as to adequacy of such ventilation devices, it shall be referred to the chief inspector. If in any mines manager or ventilation officer is not able to take a decision, then it can be referred to the CIM, Chief Inspector of the Mines, who is also called as Director General Mine Safety. The space between frame of every ventilation door and roof and sides shall be built up masonry concrete not less than 25 centimeters in the thickness actually. This why space is generally kept to minimum of 25 centimeters means to prevent leakage actually, that is one of the important thing, okay. And every ventilation door shall be self-closing whenever opened. Actually, just like nowadays, even in the what do you mean? I mean to say even in the classrooms or somewhere else, all these doors will be provided with the hydraulic system. Once somebody goes out, it automatically closes. Such type of arrangement should be there in the ventilation door also. Every ventilation door shall be self-closing whenever opened. It shall be closed as soon as possible because it creates lot of leakage and should not be propped or fixed so as to remain open. So, this should not be kept like that, okay. If the ventilation door is required to be frequently kept open for the passage of men or material, there shall be throughout every working shift a door attendant at the door should be provided. So, this is one of the important thing. You should not keep it open by some latch or some wooden latch or something like that. So, a door attendant should be there, okay. If you want to keep the door open for some more time, okay. If the door is not in use, it should be taken off its with the hinges and placed in such a position that it should not cause any obstruction to the air current. This is one of the important thing. If door is no more of use, then better take it off with the hinges and keep in the place where it doesn't obstruct the air current. Every stopping between main intake and main return airway shall be constructed of masonry or brickwork or concrete without reinforcement not less than 25 centimeters. This is already discussed. If constructed of properly reinforced concrete not less than 15 centimeters. So, if you brickwork and masonry, it should be of 25 centimeters. If it is of a reinforced concrete, it should not be less than 15 centimeter thickness. This is the thing which you have to, follow. Next, in case of mine having problems of fires, spontaneous heating along with the working of coal seams of degree 2 or degree 3 gasiness, the chief inspector may by an order in writing subject to such conditions as he may specify therein, require construction of explosive proof ventilation stoppings between the intake and main return airway and at such other places specified by him. Sometimes these stoppings can be explosion proof. This is generally suggested by the regional inspector of the mines. In such cases, so construction is little bit different actually. It should be approved type, and there are some other specifications which we need to follow during explosion proof ventilation stopping. The partitions and walls of every air crossing shall not be less than 25 centimeters once again in thickness if constructed of masonry, same point, and if it is not properly reinforced, and not less than 50 centimeters thickness if it is reinforced. This point is already covered. And auxiliary fan. Right now we have covered standards of ventilation, and next things all ventilation devices, doors, air crossings, brattices, like that. Coming to auxiliary fans. These auxiliary fans are generally, apart from the main mechanical ventilator, auxiliary fans are provided in the underground also. Just like, for example, sometimes in a home, apart from the ceiling fan, some table fan will be there. So such type of arrangement is there in the underground also. Every auxiliary fan shall be installed, located and worked in such a manner that a sufficient quantity of air shall at all times reach it so as to ensure that it does not recirculate air. This is one of the important thing. If you are keeping auxiliary fan, you should not recirculate air, and there is no risk of air which it circulates being contaminated by sufficient quantity of. This is also one of the important thing. You should not add other quantities of inflammable or noxious gases, whether driven electrically or otherwise, efficiently connected with earthing. So earthing is one of the important thing, so as to avoid the accumulation of electrostatic charges, because earthing is done to prevent electrostatic charges, and shall have an air duct for conducting the air or from the face to blind end. Generally, whenever auxiliary fan is there, there will be one duct will be there to force the air or to exhaust the air so that it reaches the workers, which shall be so maintained as to minimize any leakage of air, to ensure any adequate supply of air to within 3 meters of. That's why adequate supply of air, that is the main purpose of ducting, and to minimize any leakage also. This is the purpose. So whenever you are connected with, you are asked about auxiliary fans, you should think about, you should be installed in such places, there should be no recirculation. It should be installed in such places, there should be no addition of inflammable or noxious gases, and it should be properly earthed to prevent electrostatic charges. It should have proper air duct so that adequate supply of air should be forced to the face. And no auxiliary fan shall be started, stopped or removed or replaced or in any way altered or interfered except by the authority of official. Generally, this authority of an official means ventilation officer. So it should not be tampered in any type. If you want to tamper it, if you need the permission of ventilation officer. No person shall enter or remain any place which is dependent for its ventilation on auxiliary fan unless such fan is operating efficiently. So if you are already entering the place where auxiliary fan is working, then you have to confirm that whatever the ventilation provided with the auxiliary fan is sufficient, otherwise don't enter. In every below ground working, conditions for installation of 2 or more auxiliary fans in the same ventilation districts or split shall be specified by the, if you want to erect 2 or more fans in the same district, then you need the permission of Chief Inspector of Mines. And coming to lighting and safety lamps, if you want to discuss about lighting, we need to go through the whitewashing also. The roof and sides of the following places below ground in a mine shall be kept effectively whitewashed, namely every shaft inset, every shaft bottom. Shaft inset means where the cages are going down, that is the thing, shaft is, that is called platform also. Every shaft inset, shaft bottom or siding, every bypass which is in regular use, top and bottom of the haulage plane. So in case of direct rope haulage, top, in case of direct rope haulage, bottom, every regular stopping place, siding, landing, all these places should be whitewashed. Every travelling roadway, this is one of the important thing. We have covered regulations of travelling roadway. Travelling roadway should always be more than height of, minimum height is 1.8 meters. Every room and place containing any engine, motor or other apparatus. So these all the things should be whitewashed. Every first aid room, first aid station below ground. I already told about first aid station. First aid room is always bigger than first aid station. First aid station is already bigger than first aid pockets which are kept fitted to the foreman or overman. And coming to general lighting, where the lighting arrangement should be provided. Adequate general lighting arrangement shall be provided during the working hours on the surface where the natural light is insufficient. If the natural light is insufficient, then only you need to provide lighting arrangement. That's also in the night time. In every engine house, in the vicinity of every working shop, at every open cast working, at every shunting or marshalling odd, at every place where persons have to work. Coming to the lighting arrangement, again, even if you provide lighting, it should be checked by, there is one instrument is called lumen meter. That is one of the important thing. You have to check it. So whether it is above the threshold limits of the lighting standards as per the DGMS or not. If it is below, then you have to increase the lighting. That is one of the important thing. Sorry, it is called lux meter. Okay. So, and last topic, that is cases and containers for carrying explosives. So, in underground mine or in open cast mines, generally explosives are used for fragmentation purpose. In case of open cast mining, it's okay, but in case of underground mining, there are the regulations are very strict. No explosive shall be issued from the magazine or taken to any mine except in case of container or substantial containers. So, this is one of the important. If you want to take explosives to underground, it should be in the proper container only. You should not take it in the carry box or like that. No detonator shall be kept in the case or container which contains other explosives, materials, tools. 2 or more types of detonator shall not be kept in. So, if you are carrying a detonator is different, explosive is different. Explosive is just non-cap sensitive. If it is detonator is inserted, then only it will become a cap sensitive explosive, because otherwise the explosive it can't ignite. It needs initiator also. Initiator is nothing but a detonator. Both has to be handled separately. And similarly, 2 more detonators of different companies can't be taken in one container. No detonator shall be taken out from the case of a container unless it is required for immediate use. So, while charging of the explosive only, you have to take out the detonators from the container. Otherwise, you have to keep it, because it is initiator. It's very dangerous. Explosive is also dangerous, but detonator is still more dangerous. Explosive, if kept primed with the detonator, then only it's very, very dangerous. If explosive is there, it can't be that much dangerous, but detonator is very, very dangerous. Except as otherwise provided for in Regulation 188, no case or container shall contain more than 5 kilograms. So, no container shall contain more than 5 kilograms of explosive, and no person shall have in possession at one time in any place more than one such case. So, always the persons who are taking explosives from surface to underground, the maximum weight they can take is 5 kilograms. So, that weight of that container should contain only 5 kilograms net weight, you can say like that. Every case or container shall be numbered as far as possible, because numbering is one of the important thing, because otherwise pilferage of explosive will happen, resulting in the lot of penalties. Every case or container shall be numbered as far as practicable. The case or container shall be issued to the shot firer or competent person as the case may be every day. The key of every case or container shall be retained by the shot firer. So, every container should be locked and the key should be kept with the shot firer only. And today's lecture covered standards of ventilation, ventilation control devices like brattices, doors, air crossings, and cases for explosive, which we are dealing that any person going underground should carry only 5 kilograms of explosives, and detonator should be handled separately. If they are handling detonators of 2 companies, then they should be kept in the separate containers. Similarly, container key should be always kept with the shot firer only. Thank you.